The Warriors front office has found itself at yet another crossroads where ambition meets the harsh realities of the NBA's modern chessboard. And this time, it could change the trajectory of Dub Nation forever. Welcome back to Warriors News, Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Now, here's the deal. The whispers aren't just noise anymore. Golden State is preparing to shake things up by seriously exploring a trade involving Jonathan Kuminga, a young, electrifying talent whose ceiling still dazzles, but whose urgency to find a new home has reached a fever pitch. We all know Kuminga's journey has been a roller coaster, marked by moments of brilliance shadowed by inconsistency. And as a fan base that's been burned before, remember the soul-crushing collapse against the Cavs in 2016 when the Warriors' Dynasty dreams crumbled despite a 3-1 lead. The prospect of shipping out a key piece like Kuminga feels like a seismic event. Yet, with the salary cap tightening under the stringent new CBA and the Warriors' refusal to dismantle what remains one of the league's most polished lineups even, after the high-profile acquisition of Jimmy Butler, the front office has a clear vision of what's missing. A floor-spacing big man who can stretch defenses and mesh seamlessly with Draymond Green's unique pass-first defensive maestro style. Most fans naturally peg Celtics vet Al Horford as the prime candidate after all. He's a proven floor spacer and locker room stabilizer, but here's the secret no one was ready for. Golden State's eyes have belonged elsewhere for months, specifically locked on none other than Milwaukee Bucks veteran power forward Bobby Portis, a championship-caliber big who ticks every box from athleticism to shooting to grit. According to Brett Siegel from Clutch Points, the Warriors' ask is clear but formidable Portis in a sign-and-trade deal for Kuminga. What makes this so tantalizing is that the Bucks themselves flirted with the idea of snagging Kuminga, seeing his potential to inject lightning into their roster, but balked when faced with Golden State's steep asking price. Milwaukee refuses to yield Portis in a sign-and-trade swap, making this high-stakes chess match not just about talent, but about leverage, patience, and timing. Fans should recall Portis' gritty performances last season. He averaged nearly 14 points and 8.4 rebounds on efficient shooting splits, 47-37-84, embodying the exact blend of toughness and skill that Warriors championships thrive on. Imagine Portis sliding alongside Draymond, the floor spaced wide, the paint patrolled with relentless energy, reminiscent of how the Horford-Draymond pairing was envisioned, but with added bounce, edge, and a hunger that only comes from years of fighting for every minute. Picture the high screens, the quick slips into open space, the way Portis could crash the offensive glass while still darting back in transition, creating a seamless two-way threat that feeds directly into Kerr's motion offense. The idea becomes even juicier when you remember that Portis' career arc has been defined by patience and persistence, largely confined to a bench role in Milwaukee. His starts limited over recent seasons, yet his production per minute quietly, hinting at a player who's been waiting, almost aching, for a stage where his energy can be unleashed in full. Within Golden State's high-tempo schemes, where the ball zips, the screens multiply, and the reads come in fractions of a second, a player with Portis' physicality and shooting touch could become the connective tissue between the stars and the supporting cast. This is where the emotional weight kicks in, because Dub Nation knows exactly how critical the right piece can be. Think back to the 2022 title run. Every role player bought in, every rotation clicked, and the margins were won with hustle, intelligence, and trust. Or rewind even further to the 73-9 season, a masterpiece of balance and star power, but also of perfectly tuned role players who understood when to shoot, when to screen, and when to simply move the defense. Could Portis be that missing brushstroke, the one detail that turns a strong picture into a masterpiece? The parallels aren't hard to see back then. It was Barnes fitting seamlessly next to the core. Today, it could be Portis injecting a new layer of toughness and versatility. And yet, Every bit of this vision hinges precariously on the Bucks' stance. Right now, Milwaukee is unwilling to surrender Portis in a sign-and trade, effectively freezing the Warriors' blueprint in limbo and sending Dub Nation into overdrive with speculation. What if the Bucks have a change of heart, perhaps swayed by a bigger picture roster move of their own? What if this deal involves Kuminga heading to Milwaukee, a swap that could, in a strange twist, revitalize both franchises? Kuminga finally getting a larger role to blossom, Portis stepping into a system tailor-made for his skills? These what-ifs aren't just idle fan talk. They're the kind of scenarios that front offices are gaming out right now behind closed doors. And in Golden State's case, every decision is being weighed against an unforgiving clock. They're not just trying to find the right fit. They're juggling playoff seeding pressure, maintaining salary cap flexibility, and protecting a fragile but hard-earned locker room chemistry that was rebuilt in the years after the KD era. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson's legacies hang in that balance. Both are chasing what could be their final deep playoff run together. Their window still open but narrowing, every year feeling more precious than the last. Draymond remains the heartbeat and defensive anchor, but the load he carries can't increase forever, and the addition of a player like Portis could allow him to conserve energy for the moments that matter most. Meanwhile, Moses Moody waits in the wings, emerging as a contributor, but still not quite ready to take on the full responsibility that Kuminga's departure would leave behind. That's the risk and the reward. Do you bet on Portis' immediate impact, knowing he's a proven playoff performer, or gamble on the continued growth of your young core? History shows the Warriors aren't afraid to make a bold call, but the wrong one could tilt them from contention to the middle of the pack in a conference that's as unforgiving as it's ever been. Denver remains a powerhouse. Oklahoma City's youth is rapidly maturing into lethal playoff-caliber killers, and the Lakers are lurking, ready to pounce on any misstep from their West rivals. Every potential trade, every rotation shift is a move on a chessboard where one wrong piece advanced too far could leave the king exposed. And through it all, the fan base lives in that tense space between excitement and dread, their minds racing, with images of how it could all come together or come apart. Is this trade talk the ignition point, the crucial spark for the Warriors' next dynastic chapter? Or is it the dangerous crack that begins to fracture a legacy carefully built over a decade of brilliance? The tension is palpable, the stakes higher than ever, no easy answers, just the intoxicating thrill of possibility and the sharp sting of uncertainty. As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this, caught between hope and worry, between the dream of one more title and the fear of seeing this era fade. From my seat, I can't help but imagine the roar of Chase Center if Portis stepped onto that court in blue and gold for a playoff game. The energy would be volcanic. But until the deal is real, we're all left hanging, wondering whether this is the beginning of a final glorious surge, or the first step toward a goodbye we're not ready to face. Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. Right at the razor's edge of this seismic moment, Dub Nation finds itself caught in a whirlwind that threatens to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Warriors' future. The kind of crisis that doesn't just test a franchise, but shakes its very foundation. If you're as locked in as I am for Warriors News Fan Report, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a second of the drama from the Bay to the Chase Center. Picking up exactly where we left off, the aftershocks from the recent roster tremors are not just rippling quietly behind the scenes. They're setting off a full-on storm inside Warrior territory, forcing Bob Myers and the front office into a gladiatorial arena of hard decisions where the pressure cooker of expectations has never been hotter. The trade market, once viewed as a realm of possibility, has now turned into a chessboard littered with explosive pieces. Who moves, who stays, and who just might get flipped as the Warriors look to maneuver cap space, luxury tax thresholds, and supply-demand scarcity in a league where superstars rarely come cheap. Could the mysterious whispers about retaining Draymond, Green's trade value while finessing a fresh core of shooters and defenders, actually signal a new war strategy? Or is this all a guise for something deeper, something Messier lurking beneath? Those calm press conference smiles? The chemistry in the locker room is palpably strained. Veteran leadership, once the glue of this dynasty, now questions if the path forward is a sprint or a marathon, and how new absences or additions will recalibrate the soul of this team. Imagine the locker room, a crucible for emotional tension and unspoken anxieties. Steph Curry's unparalleled shooting prowess, buttressed by whispers of contract negotiations playing out under the radar. Klay Thompson's precious minutes managed not just for physical health, but psychological resilience. And Draymond's fiery presence challenged amid shifting playbook demands and a new cadre of role players trying to find their voice. Coaching strategies that once dazzled with their fluidity now face a labyrinth of new wrinkles. Steve Kerr's playbook must evolve from classic motion offense and switch-heavy defense to a hybrid that can offset roster gaps without sacrificing identity. But can the new pieces handle the complexity and intensity, or will the Golden State system buckle under its own historic weight? Salary cap implications push front office virtuosity to its limits, every move calculating against a ticking clock and the shadow of luxury tax penalties, where even a single misstep could mean sacrificing the chance to land a key piece in a blockbuster free agency. We can't forget the heart-wrenching echoes of the 73-9 season, a masterpiece undone in heart-stopping heartbreak, nor the sudden fractures during the Durant era's golden glow that taught. You saw how quickly the brightest flames can burn out when cohesion falters under superstar tension. History presses in here, a relentless reminder that dynasties are not built on talent alone, but on the unbreakable bonds of trust, sacrifice, and vision. But here's the twist no one saw coming, rumors swirling of a potential blockbuster midseason pivot that would send tremors through the Western Conference, involving not just fringe role players, but a bona fide star from a rival team suddenly eyeing the Chase Center as a landing spot. The kind of bolt from the blue that could redefine the competitive landscape and force the Warriors to either double down on their all-in approach or reset for a longer rebuild than fans ever dreamed. Could this be the moment Dub Nation witnesses a full-circle redemption arc reminiscent of the We Believe era's gritty, undying spirit, or are we staring down the barrel of something far more uncertain? The strategic rotation experiments, like giving rookie phenoms eye-opening minutes under playoff pressure, signal an urgent bet on youth and energy, but also risk unsettling the veteran rhythm that has been the backbone of 3 championships. And yet, within this turbulence lies an opportunity, a chance to craft an identity both new and deeply rooted in Warriors' DNA, space, pace, and that unyielding chase for greatness. From an emotional standpoint, the tension is almost unbearable, fans wrestling with hope and fear, echoes of past glories mingling with very real anxieties over the legacy that this current group will leave behind. Is this the ignition of our next dynasty push, or the fracture that sends it all crashing down? With rival teams circling like sharks sensing weakness, especially given the ironclad threat from the Lakers, star-studded lineup, and the Mavericks' relentless hunger, every game is a battle for not just wins, but psychological dominance. Into this mix, the locker room dynamics take on the flavor of high-stakes diplomacy, veterans mentoring rookies, stars recalibrating roles, and coaches calibrating every word and touch to preserve unity and focus. Behind the scenes, contract negotiations hover like dark clouds. What does a long-term commitment from Curry or Thompson really mean when age and injuries loom? Will Draymond's fiery leadership withstand the pressures of a shifting roster? Or will his energy become a flashpoint for locker room conflict? These questions gnaw at the fabric of Dub Nation's faith. The tactical battles meanwhile unfold with thrilling unpredictability, watching Kerr's adjustments, how the Warriors exploit mismatches through unheralded bench players, and navigate A defense tailored to stifle the league's most lethal scorers has become a masterclass in basketball chess. Every possession feels like a microdrama, where the faintest breakdown could swing momentum or signal deeper cracks. And this brings us back to the broader context, the Warriors' legacy, crafted from that improbable 2007 We Believe spark. Through the crushing 2016 Finals collapse, the Durant-era heights, and the bittersweet 2022 championship reunion, all these moments inform the stakes of this season's trial by fire. History is not kind to those who rest on laurels, and the spotlight on Golden State grows even brighter with every passing game. What happens next is the story only time writes, but the tension, the drama, the pulse-pounding narrative is electrifying. Fans are left breathless, caught between the raw hope of a dynasty rebirth and the paralyzing fear of collapse. As I watch this evolve, what strikes me most is the resilience forged in adversity. The Warriors aren't just fighting opponents, they're battling themselves. And as we stand on the edge of whatever comes next for Dub Nation, I can't shake the question: are we witnessing the ignition of our next dynasty push, or the fracture that sends it all crashing down? Sound off in the comments. Dub Nation, I'll be right there in the thick of it with you, riding every high and every heartbreak, right here on Warriors News Fan Report. Personally, I believe this moment, as unraveling as it seems, holds a sliver of the Warriors' greatest comeback story yet. If they can harness the chaos and reignite that unbreakable team chemistry, Dub Nation might just be about to witness a resurgence that rivals anything in franchise history. But that fight is far from guaranteed, and the stakes have never been higher.